What's going on, YouTube gamers? Bonfire here, and welcome to another episode of What's This Game, where every week we highlight a new game, play it, and try to figure out what it's all about. This week we are playing the recently released Dying Light, and this is the first-person open-world zombie game from Techland, and that's the same studio that brought us Dead Island and Dead Island Riptide. And this was one of my most anticipated games for 2015 because I really enjoyed the Dead Island games. I thought they were fun, even though they had their fair share of issues. So today we're going to dive into some gameplay so you guys can check out the game, see how it runs, and I'm going to give you guys a little overview of the game as well as some of my early impressions from my time with it. Now, for those of you that have played either of the Dead Island games, Dying Light is going to feel very familiar. You're going to see a lot of similarities between the two. However, there are some key differences that really separate Dying Light from the previous Dead Island games. Now, one of those first differences is the addition of parkour. And this is where you get to run, jump, move fast, climb up buildings, and really just be an all-around athletic badass. And I like this aspect of the game. I think it really works well within the game, and it's fun to do. They really make it fun to go from point A to point B because you're running, you're dodging zombies, you're traversing the environment, climbing up different buildings, hopping from car to car, and it's just fun to do. It's a little difficult to get used to at first because the weapon scheme and the mechanic, how it actually works is not what I thought it would be. But once you get through the tutorial, give it a few tries, a little practice run, you pick it up, and like I said, it works really, really well. Now, one of the other key differences within Dying Light is its day-night cycle. And this is really one of the huge features within Dying Light. It's one of the whole premises of the game. Because during the day, it's sunny, it's bright, the zombies are as you'd expect them. They're mostly slow, they don't really do a lot. They'll attack you when you're by them, but they're easy to dodge, they're easy to beat up, and it's basically business as usual. But at nighttime, it's a whole different game, and it really changes the gameplay because there are certain zombies that they get more aggressive, they're scary, and if they see you, they will run towards you and they will not stop. They will attack you until you either escape, get out of their line of sight, or take them out. And this turns the gameplay almost into a stealth game because you want to avoid these guys unless you're brave enough to fight them. And for me, I have not yet been brave enough to even fight them. And one of the cool mechanics that they've done is when you're getting chased by one of these super zombies, if you will, that you actually look behind you and it's a slow-mo animation to where you're looking behind you, everything's in slow-mo, and you see this zombie just coming at you. And guys, it is absolutely terrifying. And just everything about nighttime is scary because you can't see anything. You have to use your flashlight, you have to sneak around, and I really like the fact that it changes up the gameplay. Now, there are a couple other smaller differences between Dead Island and Dying Light, such as lockpicking. You can open up different containers that are locked, and there's doors that you have to lockpick, and this lockpicking is straight out of Fallout 3 and Fallout New Vegas. If you've played those, you've done those lockpicking, you've done this one. There are also human enemies that you can battle and or avoid within Dying Light. And though there were human enemies in Dead Island, I really feel like these enemies are different because they don't really mess with you unless you mess with them. And when you do mess with them and you want to fight them, it's a challenge. They're a lot more challenging than I remember them being in Dead Island. Another difference is the safe houses, and these act very similar to the base camps in Far Cry 3 and Far Cry 4, to where you have to clear them, rid them of enemies, and once you do that, and also you have to activate power, then you have a safe house. And there are a ton of them throughout the entire map of Dying Light. And I really recommend you go and you clear out a bunch of safe houses all over the map because, again, come nighttime and when you're doing missions at nighttime, they're a great place to get away from the scary zombies. You can actually sleep through the night to survive it, basically. One of the last smaller differences I wanted to talk about is they have supply drops, and this is basically where a crate will literally get dropped in from a plane in the sky on a random spot on the map, and it basically is a race to go get that. And you're racing against other AI human players. And on the supply drops, you can get some items, and you'll also get a package that you can bring back to your headquarters for additional experience, which is pretty cool. And even if you don't beat the other AI human players to the crate, if you catch them before they finish getting the crate, you can actually kill them and get the crate back. So I thought it was kind of a neat feature and neat addition to the game. Now, in terms of the gameplay and the story, I'm about 4 to 5 hours into the game, still very early on, and there isn't much of a story. Now, since this is very similar to Dead Island, I don't expect much of a story, though towards the end of Dead Island you kind of got a little gist of story. So I'm hoping that we get more of a story in Dying Light as we progress through the game, but thus far it's very, very slow to start out. And one of the things I've noticed is that there are a ton of side missions to do. I mean, there are a ton of different characters to go talk to, and you can go out and do missions for them. There are the safe houses to clear out. There are other survivors that you can go and save from zombies that'll kind of just randomly pop out, similar to the random encounters you get in like Grand Theft Auto, as well as there's those supply drops to go after. So there are a ton of things to keep you distracted from the story, which I like, but then again, it can be a bad thing because you're not progressing the story, and it's very easy to get distracted in games like this. One of the last things I wanted to talk about was the combat, because yes, this is a first-person game, but the combat is mostly melee, and it's melee focused. Again, I'm about 4 to 5 hours into this game. I haven't even seen or encountered a firearm whatsoever, and I know they're in the game. But if it's anything like Dead Island was, then you're not going to see them towards the latter part of the game, and there isn't going to be a lot of ammo. You probably won't use them much because, again, this is a melee-focused game. You're meant to just beat up zombies, upgrade your weapons, get some knives, get some swords, baseball bats, and really just beat the crap out of zombies. That's kind of what this game is about, and I anticipate it as I get farther into the game to kind of be the same, which is okay because the melee combat, it feels good. And though the melee combat, in my opinion, isn't as good as it was in Dead Island, because in Dead Island, you could actually aim for the head, aim for the arms, and it would do the appropriate damage depending on where you're aiming at, and it just felt good. And in Dying Light, it just kind of feels like you're beating up a punching bag. Doesn't necessarily matter where you aim, though. If you do aim for the head, eventually you can just beat the head up and it just explodes. But to me, the melee combat isn't as satisfying as it was in Dead Island. But that's not to say it's not necessarily a bad thing. However, one of the unique things about Dying Light is that I find myself not really engaging in a lot of combat unless I'm going for some of that experience, or I'm trying to find particular items, kind of just looting some of the zombies, because it's very easy to get overwhelmed by a lot of zombies. You may start an encounter with 2 zombies that you're trying to take out. Next thing you know, you're swarmed with an additional 4 to 5 zombies. So you're almost encouraged to avoid them and avoid combat. So overall, Dying Light is fun and I'm really enjoying it. It's exactly what I thought it would be. It's more Dead Island, but it's a more refined Dead Island. And with the additions of the parkour and the day-night cycle, I think Dying Light is a lot better than Dead Island. So if you've played Dead Island and kind of left a bad taste in your mouth, I would still recommend this game because this is a more refined and much improved Dead Island. So there you guys have it for some of my early impressions and a nice overview of Dying Light. Let me know what you guys think about Dying Light down in the comments below. And if you guys enjoyed this video, as I hope you did, let me know with a thumbs up. And if you're brand new to the channel, be sure to hit that subscribe button because like I said, every week we're going to highlight a new game, play it, and try to figure out what it's all about. Until next time, I'm Bonfire, and I will see you online. Hey guys, don't forget about Facebook, Twitch, and Twitter, and hit that button down below.